The biggest lie you've been told is that real men don't cry. And the biggest mistake that most fathers make is trying to hide their pain. All your life, you've been programmed to believe that to get where you are, you had to be tough. You were told that you can't show any weaknesses. You had to bury and suppress your emotions. And you were told that you had to just keep going no matter what. I need you to hear me clearly when I say this. All of that is wrong. Not a little bit wrong, not kind of wrong, completely false. And the crazy part is, the very thing that helped you win out there in the world is the same thing that's causing you to lose in here at home. My name is Marquez Pie. I came from a broken home, and I almost let the pain from my past destroy my family. Now I help high-performing fathers make sure that doesn't happen to them. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 things. Number 1, what it actually looks like when a man cries. Number 2, what usually happens when a man tries to say that he's not okay. And number 3, how trying to be Superman is actually destroying your family. And how showing your weaknesses actually make you more of a leader, not less. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might be the most important thing that you'll ever hear. Before I start, let me say this first. I'm not here to tell you that being strong is wrong. I'm not here to tell you that everything you were taught was all bad either. That would be a lie. That toughness got you where you are right now. It helped you build something, make money, earn respect. Nobody gave you that. You went out and you got it all on your own. And part of what got you there was your ability to be able to push through, to not fold, no matter how hard things got. That's not a bug. That's a feature. But here's the problem. What helped you survive is also hurting the people that you love. The problem isn't that you're strong. The problem is that strength became a mask. And now you wear it everywhere you go. At work, in public, and at home with your wife and your kids. The people who need to see the real you the most. And here's what nobody ever told you. The same wall that protects you is the same wall that prevents your family from getting through to you. It blocks them from your love, from your presence, from experiencing the real version of you. And if you don't knock that wall down before it's too late, your family won't be able to break through it. They'll learn to live without you, even if you're sitting right there in the room. Let that sink in for a minute, because that's how distance starts to creep into your marriage and your relationships. That's how resentment builds, and that's how families fall apart. And most men don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. And this isn't just my opinion. Research shows that men who were taught to suppress their emotions growing up carry more distress, more irritability, and more conflict in their relationships as adults. The tougher a man tries to appear on the outside, the more it costs him on the inside. Your body, it was designed to feel, not pretend that your feelings don't exist. When you suppress what you feel, it doesn't just disappear. It just changes form. And eventually, it shows up in your marriage, in your parenting, and even in your health. Because when a man doesn't let his pain out, it doesn't disappear. It looks for an escape hatch. And when it finds one, it leaves stains and scars on your marriage, on your kids, and on your legacy. And let me say this before we go any further. If what I'm saying is actually hitting home, if you're starting to see yourself in these examples that I'm giving, you need to understand something. If you don't fix this, it will eventually cost you your family. Not maybe, not possibly, definitely. That's exactly why I wrote my book called I've Been Framed: How to Rewrite the Code Running Your Life Before It Costs You Your Family. Because most men don't even realize that they're running a program that they didn't choose, a program that got installed when they were kids. And now that program is playing out in their marriage, controlling their reactions, and the way they show up for their children. I break all that down and I go way deeper in this book. And if you want a copy, the link is in the description. But for now, just stay with me. I want you to think about something. What happens when a little kid gets hurt? They cry, they scream, they make noise, and everybody stops. Mom stops, dad stops, teachers stop. Someone picks their child up and they try to figure out what's wrong with them. What happens when a woman is hurting? People stop, they listen, they start asking questions, because we're trained to take care of women and children. But when a man cries, when a father says that he's not okay, you know what people say? You'll be all right. You're a man. Get over it. Be strong. Let it go. Stop being sensitive. And just like that, it gets dismissed. His pain gets overlooked. And whether we admit it or not, it makes us feel like we don't even matter. So what does he do? He adapts. He stops talking. He gets quiet. He learns to cope, because nobody is listening anyway. But remember, pain doesn't just disappear because you choose to ignore it. It looks for another way out. You ever farted and made yourself mad because of how bad it smelled? I'm sure you tried to hold it in, but you couldn't. Your pain is like that gas. It won't stay in your body just because you want it to. Eventually, it has to come out. And when it does, it affects everybody in the room. Most of the things men do, they're not just random. They're not just making bad decisions. That's a man crying out for help, for attention, for love, in the only language that he was ever taught. The affair? Yeah, that's just a man crying. Always hanging out with the fellas? Yeah, that's just a man crying. Because just like being in a gym, you can lift heavy weights for a few reps, but eventually you have to put the weight down because you can't hold on to it forever. The late nights at work? Yeah, that's just your man crying. Because work gives you control. It allows you to escape. It gives you a sense of belonging. While home, it just reminds you of the constant pressure and pain that you constantly go through. The phone, the television, the ball games, the video games, the doom scrolling for hours. That's just a man crying. He checked out mentally because checking in emotionally, it feels unfamiliar to him. And remember, your brain is wired for familiarity. That's his job, to keep you safe. So when you've been told your whole life to F your feelings, now F means forget, because you know I don't cuss, but your brain learns to avoid them. And you do what tough guys are taught to do. You just deal with it. Even church can become a tissue for your tears. Some men pour themselves into their ministry, into helping everybody else but themselves, so they don't have to deal and sit with themselves and deal with the pain that's going on in their life. And science actually confirms this pattern. Studies on emotional expression show that women cry far more often than men. Not because men don't have feelings, but because boys are usually shamed out of crying very early in their life. We're taught to toughen up, to shut down. But remember, the emotion doesn't just stop. It just finds another way to express itself, usually through anger, shutting down, or in some form of a health issue. I know, because I've been there. I grew up in a broken home. I saw what happens when a man's pain has nowhere to go. And I swore I would never become that man. And I became him anyway. Not because I was bad, not because I was trying to, because I was running a program that I didn't even know existed. The same program my father ran, and the same one his father ran, and nobody ever taught me how to update it. That is what identity transformation is. It's the process of going all the way down to the root of who you are, finding the beliefs and the code that got installed in you before you were old enough to write your own name good, and rewriting them from the inside out so your behavior finally changes permanently. Not because you try harder, because you became someone different. That is the exact process I use with the high-performing fathers that I work with to create lasting change in their lives. Look, I was building businesses, leading people, producing results, and at home, my family was on the edge of collapse. That moment, when I finally saw it, changed everything. Because I realized something. Men do cry. We just cry differently. And the way I was crying was costing me everything I was trying to protect and keep. Most men have tried. At least once. You open up, you said something, and what happened? Maybe she didn't know what to do with it. Maybe she didn't know how to handle that situation. Maybe it got used against you later on. Maybe somebody laughed at you. Maybe your dad or your coach told you to man up and stop being sensitive. And in that moment, you learned something. You learned that it's safer to just stay quiet. So you went back and you hid behind that wall again. But it's actually deeper than that. A lot of men don't even know what they feel anymore. They're numb to their emotions because they've been performing their whole life. Their identity got tied to their performance, not to who they are, but to what they do. That's why you can be winning at work, you can be winning in life, and still feel empty at home. That's why resting feels like laziness. That's why you feel guilty when you're not producing anything. And deep down, there's a question that remains unanswered for you. Would they still love me if I stopped performing? Would they still love me if I couldn't provide like I do right now? That question drives all of your thoughts and your decisions. The distance, pressure, the frustration, all stem from those toxic beliefs that you're not loved and you're not good enough. And you also feel like you're not accepted. Developmental research actually shows this pattern very clearly. Boys who grow up being forced to swallow sadness or anger are far more likely to carry depression-like patterns into their adulthood. Not because they're weak, but because they were never taught how to process emotions in a healthy way. And studies on family psychology show that when fathers emotionally shut down, that it impacts their kids' lives in a negative way. Children become more stressed and less emotionally connected during interactions with their dad. Kids don't just hear what you say, they see who you are, and they absorb your unconscious beliefs, which means the way you handle your pain today becomes the emotional blueprint that your children will ultimately live by tomorrow. And this is exactly where most men get stuck. Because they know something is wrong, but they don't know what it is. They just know that they're tired, frustrated, disconnected, and they've been that way for a long time. That's why you need to do something today. Not tomorrow, not when you get some extra time on your hands, but today. You need to run what I call a trauma background check on yourself. The same way that companies run background checks before hiring an employee. When is the last time, or have you ever ran one on yourself? Not on your credit, not on your criminal record, on your emotional history, on your past pain, and on your old wounds, to see what is actually running in the background of your life. In psychology, they call this trauma screening. And the reason it exists is very simple. Most people never connect their current behavior with past experiences that shaped them. Research shows that the majority of adults have experienced at least one major adverse event in their life. Something that shaped the way that you react, the way that you protect yourself, and the way that you deal with stress. And when those wounds stay hidden and you keep them covered, they show up in relationships as anger. You create distance. You start overworking. You seek to gain control. And you emotionally shut down. And even affairs and addictions happen because of these things. Those behaviors are not the fire, they're the smoke. The fire is underneath the surface. That's why I call it a trauma background check. You wouldn't hand someone access to $1 million account without checking their history, would you? So why would you run your family off of a program that you've never examined? So if you comment the word trauma below, I'll send you the trauma background check, because you can't fix what you can't see, and you can't change your reality unless you face your reality. Look, here's the truth. You've been crying this whole time. You just didn't know it. And the way that you've been doing it is costing you more than you can even imagine. The affair that you're in, it destroys your family's trust. Work creates distance in your home. Escaping with the fellas lead to disconnection with the family. And the science actually backs this up too. Studies show that men who avoid dealing with emotional pain are far more likely to cope through workaholism, affairs, withdrawal, or other external behaviors. Those behaviors slowly erode trust and break relationships down over time. No man can outperform a broken internal system forever. And the research on fatherhood is very clear about this one thing. Kids with emotionally present fathers, not just providing fathers, but present fathers, grow up with stronger emotional regulations, have healthier relationships, and are more resilient later on in life. When a father heals, the entire family gets stronger. The work you do on yourself today will shape the landscape of your kids' future. That's why I created the Fatherhood. This is not for everybody. This is for high-achieving fathers who are winning everywhere else, but know they're losing at home. Men who are ready to stop performing and start becoming the man your family needs you to be to ensure their survival. Inside the Fatherhood, we help men go through what I call identity transformation, so they can stop losing at home while winning everywhere else. This is an application-based coaching program. This is an application-based coaching program only. We don't just let anybody into our community. We only want the right fit. The process is super simple. You apply, you put down a refundable deposit, we review your application, and within 24 to 48 hours, we let you know if we think we'll be a good fit to work with each other or not. I know I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. And if you're not accepted, you'll immediately get your deposit back. Because this isn't just about money for me, nor should it be for you either. It's about making a commitment to protecting your family, a commitment to protecting your future. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, go on Instagram and DM me the word unbreakable in all caps, and I'll send you all the information about it. But before you do anything else, I need you to understand what's at stake here. If you keep doing what you've been doing, your family will keep getting worse. That's the law, by the way. That's just not my opinion. Anything that isn't getting better, it gets worse by default, just like your body. You don't have to do anything in order for your body to stink, do you? You do have to do something in order for it to not stink, though. It's crazy how that works. All it takes for your family to fall apart is to just do nothing. All it takes for your life to fall apart is to just do nothing. Anything left unattended will get worse over time. When a farmer plants seeds in his garden, he doesn't have to do anything to make the weeds pop up. But if he wants plants, he has to work for it. He has to tend to the garden. He has to constantly get rid of the weeds that are fighting for the same nutrients that his plants are fighting for. It's the same for your life, for your marriage, and your relationship with your kids. All you have to do is do nothing at all, and nothing will change. Well, not for the better at least. Look, if you want to learn more about becoming an unbreakable father, go to my IG and DM me the word unbreakable in all caps, and let's talk. And if you want to see the method that I use to help my clients rewire their mind to improve their life, their marriage, and their relationship with their kid, go watch this video right here next. Remember, unbreakable fathers create unbreakable families. Peace.